Silent Hill, the short message, is about suicide, self-harm, social media bullying, and dealing with loss. The game makes these issues aware as bluntly as I did, just telling you the core themes. At multiple points you are hit with disclaimers prompting you to reach out to a helpline if you or anyone you know is going through similar traumas. I liked it giving you this heads up at the beginning. It's nice to see a company use their product as a platform to create awareness or help those struggling. But with the short message, you get what it's going for very early on, and these recurring disclaimers are almost like unnecessary reminders. A lot of the power from the earlier Silent Hill games was how subtle and deliberate the themes were portrayed in the game. Instead of flashing the player in the face with descriptions of James Sunderland's shattered psyche, it plays out through the enemy designs, the characters you meet, and the environments that you traverse. The short message is so on the nose about its themes that they can often lose the weight and effectiveness if it was told in a more subtle way. The game doesn't take place within Silent Hill, instead a fictional German town called Kettenstadt, and it fits in real-world events like the COVID-19 pandemic to explain how the city has lost much of its energy and the government is struggling to revive it. Some early notes that you read about the town feel almost metaphorical of Konami's own relationship with the Silent Hill series. You play as Anita, a young student who has awoken inside this abandoned apartment complex looking for her friend Maya. The apartment walls are devoured by spray paint art, some frightening images, and some of beauty, a great parallel to the main character's anxiety and distress. I don't aim to spoil much of the story, as it is worth checking out for yourself, but as your investigation goes deeper, you uncover more about what has happened to Maya, why she has gone missing, and what your character may have had in causing her disappearance. It's a fascinating drama, not one that you couldn't predict if you've seen many of these kinds of tales before, but still one that keeps you hooked through the intense atmosphere alone. While you may not be in the famous fog-ridden town, the apartment is still a chilling location to set this smaller experience, and it isn't too far from what we've seen in previous Silent Hill games. You've got the darkened hallways lit by your phone's flashlight, tattered walls beaten by neglect, and you can even peek through the windows and step out onto the balconies to see the fabled mist choking the streets below you. While you're not physically in Silent Hill, you don't feel too far from it either. The game makes a callback through a newspaper article that a doctor has labelled a mental condition the Silent Hill phenomenon. I think it's trying a bit too strongly to connect with the past games, but I like that it's working to explain why many of these new upcoming Silent Hill projects, including this one, are taking place in different locations. That Silent Hill is this mental state that can capture people from anywhere. Some of the earlier games experimented with this, but you almost always were led back to Silent Hill in some way, shape or form. Luckily, with the short message, I think you also get transported to Silent Hill, if only for a brief moment. Now you may be wondering, is there any danger, any monsters, any combat? Yes, yes and no. The short message's gameplay loop is split into two parts. You have the adventure portions when you're walking around the apartment, reading notes and progressing the story. But there's also numerous chase sequences. These are easy to recognise when they're coming up, as the screen starts flickering and your phone starts going crazy, much like the radio used to in the old games. In the chase sequences, you have to reach from A to B by running through this maze whilst also avoiding this beautiful but terrifying cherry blossom monster that is chasing you down. Get caught and you're killed and have to start the chase sequence again. The significant part of these sections is you get that rusty, labyrinthian industrial setting emerge from the erosion of the apartment walls, very much like the Silent Hill of the previous games. I do think that, especially in the final chase sequence where it's much more visceral and red, that you are teleported to the evil town. These monster moments were a great break-up from the slower pace, however the way that they are reused does start to make them a little repetitive. They're also heavily scripted, with one of them requiring you to run towards the creature for it to tail you around a loop, and then you can slip by the entrance where it always spawns. The developers even put in a few dead ends to catch you out that just end up in you getting killed. The trial and error and repetition really made them go from exciting terror to banal jump scare dressing. The last chase even has you collecting photos, not unlike Slender the 8 Pages. Get caught in the maze and you have to do it all over. By the final chase you're screaming for it to be over, with the most terrifying part having to start again. The ending of the game was a fine conclusion. It didn't leave on a cliffhanger, instead tying things up nicely and not leaving you with any questions. 3 chapters, easily completable around 2 hours, and completely free to play and enjoy by everyone, requiring no subscriptions or fees to unlock more chapters. This is a solid little package in terms of value. Silent Hill: The Short Message is a brilliant start to this revival of the acclaimed horror brand. It could easily have been a PT clone cash-in, charged a small fee of £10 and ended with loads of loose ends that will be resolved in another 4 planned sequels, but it was completely the opposite. It showed clear signs of inspiration from its peers and used them to create a short but hooking tale that talks about issues relevant in this modern social media age. The need for acceptance, and this fix of likes and followers that plagues many young people growing up in today's society. I even forgot to mention how this game blends live action cutscenes with in-engine ones, which I thought worked great in making you wonder if they're real or just in your character's mind. If the themes were just a little more subtle and embedded, the emotion a little stronger, and they had experimented more with the monster, because you have this great designed creature but it's stuck in these predictable chase sequences. Other than that, the mystery, the setting, the art style, and the new take on Silent Hill makes me more than excited for the projects to come. I score Silent Hill: The Short Message a very high B for Bravo rating. Thanks everyone for taking the time to watch my video. If you want to see more, I am planning a big review series covering every first-party PlayStation 5 game very soon. You can subscribe to be up to date with all my latest game coverage. I will certainly be tackling Silent Hill 2 Remake when it releases. If you want to see my thoughts on all the previous Silent Hill games, and I'll leave a link to that in the comments below. Let me know your favourite Silent Hill game, if you're going to be playing The Short Message or not, what you thought about it if you've already played it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.